Okay, hi there traders. Welcome to TradeSetup and the live stream for the 18th of September. Hope we're all going well. Just a quick question for anyone that's got the app, was looking at it from the app. Did you get the TradeSetup push notification through? I just didn't pop through for me, so I think it's all good though. I must have a new version, that's all. Hope we all had a good weekend. Hope we're all doing well today. Ready and raring for another positive day. It looks like the market's up about 30 points today, so off and racing. Yeah, in the US, so we'll go through, obviously, just to start with. For anyone that's actually got the TradeSetup app, we will be having, I think we mentioned this on Thursday, we've got a new push notification service that was integrated within the app, which just helps us add a lot more functionality to the app, and also to the website too, to be able to send push notifications to the website. So if you just view things, the alerts coming through the website, you'll get some sort of notification through. So we can do a lot more with it. So what we'll be doing is there's a new app download or update in the App Store, whether it be Android or Apple. Go to your, was it Google Play or the Apple App Store? Actually, you can see them in the bottom left-hand corner just in here. Go down there and you can just update the app, and then you'll get access. We'll be sending across the new alert service, the push notification service, sorry. But we'll be using both for the next week in conjunction together, and then we'll be dropping the old service. So if you don't upgrade the actual app, you'll get all the alerts, no problem, but you just won't see any of the push notifications. So thought I'll throw that in there to start with. Anyone that's new to TradeSetup, you'll see us on Twitter in the top left-hand corner. Our Facebook page is at the top right-hand corner, and the bottom right, if you subscribe to us on YouTube, you'll see anything that we go live with, anything we put up to YouTube. You'll get a bit of an alert from YouTube also, along with the TradeSetup app. All right, now today I haven't really got anything that I'm going to talk about too much. I want to open up a bit more because I know Thursday's live stream was more about technical setups, and we sort of got caught up in a lot more chat, so it didn't open up the forum a bit more just to talk about some stocks. So we'll give you a bit more time today just to have a look at different things you want to put into the chat. We'll also got a couple that we'll go through. I'll take a look at just some setups we're interested in, things that we see moving. Also, we'll just obviously go through what's happening in the US. Not much, to be honest. It was up a bit on Friday night. Just to finish off, cap off the week in solid style, I guess. It was more, I think the Dow and the S&P 500 both finished in all-time high territory. So they're pumping away quite nicely. Another rocket by North Korea goes straight across Japan, it looks like. Hokkaido, I think it is. I think it's the bottom tip or the top tip of Japan. So they're still playing funny buggers, but it doesn't look like the market's taking it. They're taking it in their stride pretty much. So I don't think much, when that news crossed the wires, I don't think much happened in the way of a bit of a sell-off. It was, it has happened in the past. Not much as the market has sold off and then it sort of bounced back, but at the moment it's not really selling off. It's just hovering around the highs and then ticking away into the close. So that was interesting. We'll see how that goes. That's something that I think that sort of little issue, or I don't know what you'd call it, is gonna get sorted sooner or later. You'd think anyway, but it's just how it's going to get sorted. I hope it doesn't escalate into something big, which could really move the markets. So we've opened up today, opened up positive. We had a bit of a sell-off Friday, and then bounced sort of into the close Friday day session, and then again overnight on Friday night. So I think the ASX was just playing catch-up with the SPY 200 from Friday night. Yeah, so not much more. We'll take a look at it now. I'll get we'll just transition that over. I'll get rid of that. And here we should have, it's going to tick over a sec. There we are. All right, so we've got up 32 at the moment, ticking away quite nicely. Let's start off just by looking at the, I'll get actually over here, XJO, just see what that's doing. Not much has changed really. Yeah, not much has changed. It's still looking, if we just drill that down, can see this still holding some lower highs through here. Nice lower high through that 58. Even with a bit of a washout, we've still got this minor level at 57.80, which we pushed up off the lows, retested that, and then we've had another sell-off, but another green day today. This could easily roll over, but it looks just to be content to be choppy between that, support around that 56.50 zone up towards 58. Until we break out of there convincingly, then, I'm teetering on the cautious side, I guess, at the moment. Just taking good quality setups rather than, jump into something just for the sake of its trending. I want to see things that have pushed up, had a bit of a correction lower, washed out some long traders, and then look for an entry on higher probability entry for a new leg up rather than just trade it as it's heading higher. And we've spoken about this a few times. So, all right, so let's look at the Dow. The S&P, good old favourites, they're still ticking away nicely. You can see that Dow all-time new highs. S&P much of the same. That's looking good. We expected this to kick higher with these inside higher lows. Always good keep an eye on that sort of inside when you've got... let's just draw it up. It's the S&P, all right. So key sort of a trading point and what we look for. We've got... here we go. That's your key level through here. We've had that leg up, correction with lower highs, lower lows, even a bit of a washout there, pushing down, holding up above that key anchor level. So the trend hasn't broken, even though some people take those lower highs as a very negative or bearish move. It's good to watch, but it's got to be in context to what some people call it swing levels. What else do you call it? We call it an anchor level. And it's pulled short of that. Then we built this little higher low, and then you got your inside higher low here. So that setup through there is what we look for, for a continuation of that bullish trend on the longer term. And it's continued beautifully up to trading at 25 at the moment. I think it closed pretty much bang on, 25.23, 2500. So on the S&P, so that's looking good. We've got the DAX. That's kicked on, but that's getting a bit toppy at the moment. Just have to see what happens with that, and the FTSE banged down last couple of sessions. So that's not looking the best. If we go back to the weekly, let's just take a look. Whoop. You still got a key level down at 71. So again, it's looking weak with the most recent price action, but in context of the overall weekly trend, nothing to say. Can't just retest 71, hold up the anchor level, and then off she goes again. I mean, that daily action is looking a bit heavy, and this could just be a washout, but still hold up above that anchor. So even the FTSE is still longer term trend is still higher, even with this most recent action looking a bit choppy. Everyone's just, this is the sort of the price action. After we mention it, time and time again, it sucks in those short traders and then washes them back out because they're not aware of these key levels, the key anchor levels to the trend up. That doesn't look that great, admittedly, but it's still not. It hasn't proven itself just yet, because this is sort of the key move up from that 71, that key move up, and it's come back, washing in a few of these late longs out. Maybe even these people that bought it in here held it through a negative move. It popped up. This is the second time they're going to hold it through that negative move lower, and they just, I guess, can't hold their nerve anymore, and they jump out. That's all fine, and that's what these movements do time and time again. It just washes out those late buyers. Anyone that's bought into trend, say down here, bought in some stocks or just the index with whatever way you want to trade it, options, whatever. They've held it through. They're still looking good. The key level for them is that 71. If we push down through 71, you might have to reassess what's going on. But until then, this move here is really, for me, it's just built. It happens just to wash out traders. And then when they hold the trend up, you can just turn it on a dime here, build a higher low, and then off she goes again. That's just something aside. But apart from that, let's just look at what Asian, what's that? That's the Kiwi index. Let's not worry too much about that. The Nikkei. What's that looking? I haven't looked at that for a while. That's still holding this inside potential, this inside level, which is just in here. Oh, no, sorry, just in here, 19,250. That's not confirmed until we pop up through, say, 20,250. But it's still, this little minor lower high just in here. You can see if we can drill down on that. This minor lower high in here has just been breached, so we could pull back, build a major higher low, and then off she goes again. We'll just have to see what happens there. Still, again, pretty much of the same. It's still looking good. You can see these moves had a solid move up. People are trying to buy it, probably late into the trend. big washout, and then bang, we just turn straight back up again. Same, maybe this is that washout which we got just previously, and up we go again. We'll have to see. Either way, the market's looking quite still quite solid. We all know that they're probably getting to that stage of looking, a bit heavy, which is fair enough, and they have been going up for quite a while. But you never, we said time and time again, never try to fight the trend. Just trade it. Trade what you see. If you think it's rolling over, okay, you might have to sell it, or just sit on your hands to see what happens. See if you can pick up a, we do have a bit of a washout, and then put your money to work again. But at the moment, the market's still heading high. The last thing you want to do is try to anticipate, and the market goes on without you. Alrighty. Any questions just on that, guys? Not much to focus on. I don't think we've got any numbers coming out. Not that I can remember anyway, but there would have been 11:30 or something out today in the Aussie. I don't know what it was. It wasn't a big number, so didn't really do too much to the market. Markets opened up and just sort of held that level. Now, I don't know if I mentioned, just so before I forget, I've got to tick off, get out a bit earlier today, as in probably about 20 past 1. So it only gives us about 50 minutes. Not really. We can take a look at it. I haven't looked at it. I used to trade, that's the Hang Seng, isn't it? Hong Kong 50, the Hang Seng. I used to trade a lot. I used to love it, intraday. Is that right, Helen? Where is it? HSI. That's it. I think that's the one there. I used to love this intraday because it can go like a rocket. So it doesn't give you much time to think about a trade, to think whether you're right or wrong. You pretty much know it straight away. So I used to love this, the Hang Seng, trading that. You have to have wider stops because the movements were quite a bit wild, but quite volatile as well. But intraday, I'm going to, it's just the HK. Yeah, I think it's the Hang Seng. We've got it at that as well, HK50. So it's I haven't really looked at it, to be honest, for a while. I was thinking about looking at it again just to keep an eye on it, to see what it did intraday. But I find this is a really good intraday tool. And it's in our time zone too, so it really gets some volatility. So if you're an intraday trader, ideally volatility is what you like, because you like the movements. When you get caught in the market, I mean, the SPY's a bit like that at the moment. If you miss a trade in the morning, you pretty much don't get too many opportunities. You can get into something that looks good and just sit on your hands, because it doesn't do much. It just sort of range trades a few points here and there for the rest of the day until it moves again. A lot of the times towards the end of the session. So the Hang Seng tends to give you more opportunities to pick up a few points here and there. All right. Do you trade that a bit, Helen? Just while I grab a drink of water. Was anyone else trade the old Hang Seng? Bit of action there. All right, so I know it's a bit delayed, but I'll keep plugging away. If you do, something pops up in chat, I will answer it. It may seem a bit late to you, but yeah. Now we've got Orocoba Limited. We've had that for quite a while, from about 3, I think it's 45, taken a partial about 4. So that's quite well locked in a partial there. That still looks quite strong to me. If we just get that up, it still looks quite strong. It's kicking on quite nicely, and we're still looking up towards, we get that weekly, the $4.75 to $5 mark. Just want to see how it reacts up at that zone. This weekly chart's looking great. You can see that curving base, and that's like that cup and handle type of trade, and it's just kicking on. So that secondary leg, if you measure it from the low to the high, you're taking around say 260 up to near 4. Take the low to high, that takes you around the same zone. So it could still extend quite a bit. It's getting, even the weekly's starting to get a bit overbought up here, so maybe that is running out of steam, that move up. But either way, I think that could, if it kicks up, great. We lock in more, but we have just raised our exit level on the rest of it, on the remaining trade, to around 410. I feel if it does roll through that low, it's going to be a lower high. That could lead to a few more sellers coming in and start breaking this uptrend. But we'll see how that goes. What else we got here? We got a few others. TAW, that's still looking good. That weekly, I like that weekly chart, looking nice. I'm looking for that extended off this high low on the longer term trend. I'm looking for that extended low through 30. So off that high low, sorry, the extended move up through 30. That daily still, you can see this daily, lower high, lower low, popped up just, I think, retested it high, pushed up off a high low and started pushing up here. looking great. So we just want to see that trend continue on TAW. That's a smallie though. B&O we still got. That's even each way bet at the moment. We're just got to keep an eye on that one. We've got our stop quite tight. Some others, DCN's kicked back up again. That's looking good. We bought that I think around the 220 mark, pushed up. Bit negative on that side there when we had that correction lower. Bit of a pullback as gold got knocked around a bit. And now it's on its way back up. If we can push up through 235, I think longer term that's just going to keep grinding its way higher. Probably I'd expect it to go through this lower high, that major lower high around that, was it 260, 257, 260s mark, or 255 to 260. I reckon it's going to push up there. We might, this trend has been quite contained, so we could just roll over, retest down the lows, we get stopped out. But I think if it keeps grinding its way high, if you get gold having a good day, good night, that probably will kick it off again. We'll see what happens on that one. What else we got? That's pretty much it. I think we were looking at a short. I find this quite interesting off FMG. Let's just make it bigger. Did anyone get that alert through? Never tried. Yeah, have a look at it, Brent. Alan just got your market there on the Hong Kong. Yeah, I think it's got funny hours. Just check out the hours. I think it kicks off around 11 and then has a mid-session break. If that's one, unless that's the Nikkei. I can never quite remember which one it is. And then they turn off halfway through the day. And then for about an hour, they all have a bit of a nap, have some lunch, and they kick off again later on. But yeah, it can move. That's good, Brent. I reckon it's a great one to trade if you're looking at it intraday. Now this is Fortescue. I'm biased to the downside. We probably caught this. I think the alert was Friday. I'm pretty sure it was Friday. If anyone can correct me. Just getting up the actual chart. Yeah, so we sent that out. That was Friday, I think, wasn't it? 15th. How do we close that? There you go. So that was the alert we sent out. I'm expecting that push lower, and we've gapped down today, and we've just broken this trending line, this uptrending line. We've just broken down through that, and we're trading down towards that 440. Just popped through it today. Potentially it's going to bounce off it towards the end of the day. It might hold above that 440. But the fact that we've broken an uptrending line is looking really good. And if you look at it on a longer term basis, so we've had this big move up. That trend is broken with this push down. You can see it's broken through some key levels at around, I think it was around 6. Just down a bit lower, 575, 580 when it broke down through there. It's had another go, but we've just broken through on this move up. Looking at the daily, it was just key level through here. So that's to me suggesting that we've got another major lower high just below 6, or it's holding around that 6 mark. And if that's a lower high, you expect, the way we look at things, one move down, push back up, and another move down to take out these lows at 450. So there could be a lot of fat in this on the downside for a short trade. Again, whether I'm going to miss it, I don't know. I'd rather see it just test through 540, bounce to build a more of a major lower high. Something like this, get those lower highs and then working back down, get it off a lower high, analyze exactly where your risk is going to be. Yeah, and then going from there. So we'll see how this one plays out. I do think there's probably another leg on the downside on this one, on FMG. Has anyone got FMG? Is still a bit of a keen on it still. Could be completely wrong, but it's just looking a little bit weak at the moment, especially after the massive move that they had, the massive run up. Just trying to think of anything else we've been looking at of late that's looking good. Oh, the two. I like this one, ZNO. It's only small. It's traded a bit today. Traded $1 million today. 2.5 million, 3 million shares. It's got some good potential. Just looking at that daily chart. If you go to the weekly, you're not going to see too much. You can't see too much on the weekly, but just off the daily, bit extended up through 30. It has popped up through 30, but it's holding higher lows quite nicely. And if we get another higher low, bit of a pullback, bring in some more buyers, another higher low. Even if it's shallow, just keep an eye on it. Could be a shallow retracement as buyers, well and truly take control. The shallower they are, especially after you've seen a couple of high lows and this gap up, if you get a shallow and it's holding around those highs, this thing could really start to accelerate and really start kicking off rather than just these minor gains. I guess it's about 8 cents. We might get 30 or 40 cents. So something to keep an eye on. And there was another one that just came out. That's not it. That's going all right. That's CL1. We've got that on the upside at 47. That's looking, that weekly chart looks great. I'm just trying to think of the other one we just popped out. CR8. CR8. That's the one. So that's another one on. Well, it's not hard to see on that chart there. No, we're not going to see it unless we take off those. But that weekly chart. Sorry, that's a daily chart there. That's looking quite good. You can see the high lows holding. Bit of acceleration up there, and it seems to have been some news out today. It's gone into a trading halt, reopening on Monday. So sorry, Wednesday. So just keep an eye on that one. It's holding nicely. I think they're doing a capital raising, but there's also some other news coming out on something else. So that could, I mean, it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where that capital raising's at, whether it's at 4 cents and we get a bit of a pullback to 4 and oscillate around 4. Just as we wash out some traders that might be, really short term, got the capital raising, taking a small profit and walking away from it. Just to see how that one goes. But there's another interesting one. It's had some good price structure recently. Helen, reading a report about commodities and iron ore. I said, they should be. Yeah, it's probably these reports that are coming out. So it'll be interesting to see, and that may be what's happening. Just dramatic decline in iron ore on demand from China. Yeah, but that'd be interesting. I guess as the price goes up, it's going to go down. The demand's going to go down a bit, but we'll see what games they play. If that's the case, then you will get. Let's just take a look at BHP and Rio. Sorry, let me just get a better chart up. Okay. So BHP, the first thing you notice up near that 28 level, and that's going to be potentially a double top. We don't know. This one, unlike maybe FMG, it's still holding this trend up. Let's just quickly go over to the weekly, see what the weekly's saying. Excuse me. That weekly, this is, we've had that move up with a big sell-off down here, down to about 14. We've had a good move up through 2016. We've had a bit of a pullback, but it's just pulling back to the MA. It's a bit of a reversion to the mean. So we are getting to a key level where this is going to be, you can see the MAs are crossed up as well, and it's looking to potentially extend this leg up from a base of around 22. It could extend it, so it could be quite a bit to go, and that you probably think could take us up this key level around 36 and sort of regain back all that lost ground. On the daily, it's still, for me, if it's going to break, it has reacted off no, let's just get rid of that. Has reacted off that key zone at 28, say. Potentially a double top there. We call it retest fail, but you've got this minor little anchor level for this trend up, for this latest move up at around 25.50. So it's got a bit of room to move, and if we see it holds up above that anchor level and you've got this sort of action and it starts getting choppy, but it just retests, it holds, and you start holding a higher low, I think that's going to take us back and up and through 28. And then you got that, then you'll get this longer term, action that we said on the weekly coming into play. Yeah. Otherwise, if we don't get this and it just goes bang through that 25.50, then if we draw that up differently, we've got this type of price action that's going to go through. We get through, maybe look for that lower high. This type of price action could be ideal. And then you've got this massive resistance zone coming into play and putting pressure on the downside. Then it could easily go back down through 22. So there is, at the moment, it's a bit early for me to decide which way I'm going to go on that, but we'll see. It's got some, if that double top comes into play, it's not looking good. I think you're right there, Brent. And Rio is a bit the same. Go back to that weekly chart. Just see the monthly. Yeah, it's a bit extended on that weekly. Just it's potentially got that double top at 70 as well. So it's a bit of the same, and that's a key level. It's touched through there, around there previously. That's way back in 2014. Sold off through 2014, 15, started 2016, rebounded all the way back up again to 70. Had a pullback again. That just pulled back to the averages, moving averages, which are pointing up, crossed the upside. It's still holding those moving averages. You can see on the weekly, retesting them, just a reversion to the mean style trading, but you are up at a key level, around 70. That's going to come into play, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Whether we get what I'd be looking for is a major lower high, but again, I want to see, it's the key level for me is anchored to this recent move up into that potential double top is around that 62, 62 and a half. Let's just draw that. This is on Rio, by the way. So for me, I'd be keeping an eye on this. If you're going to go long and you get, off the, this is a weekly, I think. No, this is a daily. If we get a little, we've had that push up, we get this little contraction and we start holding an inside high or low, okay, by all means go long. You can buy it for potentially a run up through 70 because this anchor is still in play to this uptrend. We can just draw that. That's your anchor down here. So if we get this type of price action, great. Okay, worth a bit of a stab at a long trade, because don't forget, if it does bust up through 70, that's probably going to drag in a lot of buyers as well. Your longer term buyers who maybe got it or been waiting for that correction that hasn't happened, and then they get caught, not holding the ball, I'd say. They get caught missing out, so they buy it on a push up through 70, bring in a bit of strength, a bit of buying, then you've got that trade, you know where your risk is. That could work out quite nicely, but the fact that that's a bit like BHP, if we get this push down and leaving that washout of, so we've got this, let's not draw that. We've got this price action here, pushing down, a deeper correction, we come back down to test, even a bit of a, say, washout, and then I'll be looking for that lower high to come in play. The same as your BHP, a lower high. Don't know where that's going to be, and then you potentially got some weakness down to 57, and even through that. Generally, you get these double tops, you tend to go down and test that major high or low, and if we break through that, then it could be on the downside. And try to be actually a lot. It was a huge gaps to the downside, yeah. Yeah, okay. Standard deviation. Yeah, it's good. We all different men. We all end up doing the same thing sometimes. So, trading's about consistency, isn't it? Whatever way you attack it, there. I reckon it's great. These two it's worth keeping an eye on the BHP and Rio just to see what happens. All right, I've probably talked enough myself. Chuck in, is there anything you want to look at? We'll give you some time because I have to leave probably about 20 minutes or so. Just got to keep an eye on the time. I've got to run out, pick up my boy. The only one left to pick him up today. So just let me know if there's anything you want to take a look at. We've got BHP and Rio we've gone through. There's not much else at the moment. CLQ, that's a good one we've been watching. Yeah, if there's anything else you want to take a quick look at, AJM. No worries, Brent. Let's see what we can put together on that. Just looking at some of my alerts to make sure nothing's ticked off for me. That's doing nothing. Alright, so what have we got here? AJM. Do you watch this much there, Brent? Ooh. I was looking at this. Oh, I don't know what I did. Don't know what I... Bugger, did I miss that completely? I was going to go back to see if I actually alerted this and then forgot. I'll be kicking myself, which I tend to be doing a lot. That was the last alert on it. 10th of March. Oh, okay, no, let's forget about that. That was a long time ago. This one here, this is on a weekly chart. It's getting a bit extended on this move up on the weekly. It's nothing to say it can't extend like this. You buy it extended and you get a massive couple of weeks, up hard and fast, and then it comes crashing down again. You can always pick out something, but to be a fresh buyer up here, I'd be a bit skeptical. But just looking at that weekly, what else we got? This most recent price action that's recently pushed up through a key level, just about 2021, 22. You can see through here. And then we've got that push up, bit of a pullback, built a major high low both on the weekly, the monthly, on the daily. So you've got these higher lows coming into play. Just get that back a bit. Might take off the thickness. Is all clear on. I've just taken it, made it less thick on the bars. If it's still coming through clearly, just all right. Ultra AJM. So for me, the way I'd be looking at this one, okay, as a buyer, I wouldn't buy it honestly just yet because it's had this good move up. If we just start drawing in some levels, okay, we've got a minor level through here. You've probably got between 11 and 12, some key support zone. You can see it's from left to right. You've had that move down, and, you know, high lows, lower highs. What am I talking about? Lower lows, lower highs, working its way down. You have this pop up. It failed to get down. It only fell short a bit. So within a few percent, it's pretty much a double bottom. And then the market started working its way back up. Took out that recent lower high, which means it's a change in trend. It's come all the way back down to retest down towards that support zone and then started lifting again. So you can see the market started pushing back up out of that contraction lower, and we're starting to have a new leg higher. And after you do this price action, when you've got any of the bears that maybe think this is rolling over, and then you get that rollover retest, that's coming out on the other end of that. When you've retested a level, you're potentially a double bottom, you could call that, retest of this key zone through here, you know, 11 to 12 zone. Is a nice trade because then you'd expect it either a new leg up and you're going to take you up to the highs. So at the moment, that's probably what you'll be looking at, that move up to continue up to the highs. Maybe longer term, maybe we're going to get I'd expect to get a pullback, especially after the last week or two. Was a hot tip, yeah. Yeah, should have told me. All right, we've got RHC2. Sorry, Chris, I just missed that. Yeah, so we've got this move up here, and if it was on the start of it, like if you got this type of price action up here, this price action prior up here, it got a bit extended, then I'd probably expect it to come down and even be a major lower high, and then maybe, you know, your secondary move down. As it's been quite controlled, you know, we don't forget on the weekly. Just go back to the weekly. Whoop. The weekly, mainly just this price action. It's had a good strong move up and it's blasted through quite a few levels, and we've had that profit taken, sent it down. Then we started holding a major higher low. So it's a major higher low we're interested in. If it was this, you got this kind of solid move up here, I'd be more skeptical maybe that we're going to get that secondary, so one leg down, corrective action, and another strong leg down. It still can, you know, bring us down to 6 or 7. That could have, I'm looking in hindsight now, just so everyone's still following me. That then I would have been looking potentially as that, as it been another leg lower to take out these lows and then start building from there. But it didn't. It was a bit more controlled than that. You can see this price action was more controlled. You got that leg up, blown out a few of these late buys, lower high, nice corrective action. Then you got this build up, and that was more, that was really controlled. And as we got this pushed down and we started lifting up the second time round, that's a great opportunity to buy. Okay, only because you got this double bottom, this support's becoming a lot stronger the second time around. It always becomes a lot stronger, and it starts to lift off that. Then you're potentially looking up towards these highs around 28. So if you still got that, Brent, yeah, hold firm. It's going to be hard to trail it if you haven't taken a partial yet. Yeah, just see what it goes. See if you can get up towards that 25, 26, 27. See how it reacts up there. If it extends into there, okay, we might find a bit more of this type of price action, extend into it, then you get this solid move down. It's going to flush out a lot of traders, and if we can't get through it a second on another move up and you get a lower high, then I'd be a bit more concerned there. Always looking for that lower high. It's just a stronger evidence that selling's coming into the market. But for now, the key level for me of that support is just below 16. It's way off for the moment. If I was looking to buy it, I'd want to see wash out a few of these longs, maybe down to 20, and then start holding this type of price action. Well, where we got, I want to see it hold this type of price action again. So ideally, if it's been extended up here, I want to see it maybe moving, holding, and then go. I want to, you know, just so I can easily justify my risk, and then just go from there. 0.27, is that 2.7 cents? No, it can't be. That's 20. That's 23 cents, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, all right, good. If it gets up there, that'd be awesome. All right, now that looks good. I think it's on its way up, that's for sure. The trend's holding up. You've got a major double bottom, major failure just in here the second time round, and we're starting to lift again. You can see we've washed out that key level at 19. I think from here we're just looking up towards those highs. So it's just to see how it reacts up there from now. Not much to do, really. Sense, yeah, good. Now, what else we got? We got RHC. Not too good. Let's go back to the weekly. All right, so we're very much at a key level here. It's a lot of what we've just spoken about. I'd start on analyze it on the weekly because it's probably not much need to analyze it on the daily. There's a few things that obviously we look at. Firstly, we've got this move up. All right, then we've got these lower highs holding through here, this move down. All it really did, and just look at the price action, you've got to really take note of what's happened in the past to see what potentially could happen, well, now, pretty much with this support zone through here. It washed it out, which is quite interesting. When we pushed back up, then we held that higher low, and then if you worked off that higher low, especially after a washout, we always love to see that combination. For me, that's always going to take us up and through resistance, or at least attack it, put pressure on the sellers up here on that level at least, and it did quite well. Then we've had this, basically that's led to that move up. Now we've got this price action here, it's pulled back, you know, chopped around through here, and we've washed out the top side here. So there's potentially that is a, let's just draw it up, is a major lower high. So at the moment, we're right down on this level here. We could easily, and we've come down quite hard into it. And you can see the market, this is the thing probably for the bulls, is that it's been oversold down into a support zone, which could potentially easily be another key level for an anchor. You know, we've still got this anchor just in here, if that's making sense. So we've got a key level on the longer term, on the weekly, which held up this leg, and that's down at, say, below 60 at least, I think. Yeah, below 60. Say 58 is sort of a key support zone for this leg up. We haven't breached that yet. Even though we've got this lower high, we haven't breached it. So it's that kind of trade where it could be sucking in some sellers and still holding the longer term trend up. Bit of a washout like previously, bit of a washout at this level down to 60, and bang, we bounce, we build a higher low, and off we go. Or this could be a bit like, if we draw it in a different color, this move down here, if that's a lower high, if you extrapolate that out, that's probably going to take us through that key support zone. If that's the case. The one thing working against that type of price action is the fact that we're getting a bit extended to the downside at 62.50, and we have just reacted off that low too the last week or so. So looking at the daily, whoop, a little better. Probably only today we've just reacted off that support. The lows here were 62.15, and we've got a low here of 62.21. So if we start lifting off that low, it's extended to the downside. For me, there is room to move for a good, strong move up. Just have to keep an eye on this one. It's definitely worth keeping an eye on there, Chris. Does that make sense to you there? Does that make sense to everyone? I'll look at that, Helen. Yeah, so this is why you just got to take note of some of the longer time frames. Stochastic's still got it could get more oversold. It could be a disaster waiting to happen. You've got that big move up, consolidation through here. That's produced another leg that's holding that support zone. Produce that leg up. We push down. If that's going to be a lower high and that breaches all this level, you know, one leg down, one leg, we may just punch straight through these lows, and then it's not looking so good. So definitely one to keep an eye on. I want, for me, to get into this. Yeah, exactly. Now, Helen's exactly right what she said there. Don't treat it as a long-term buy. Purely, I wouldn't anyway. I'm not saying what to do, but the fact that it's moved so hard on that monthly, the weekly, that's quite a good move. If this is a double top in here, or this is a major lower high, if you just bought it, just sat on the bid here, you bought it, sooner or later you're going to get set if it's going to move down, and then there could be a lot of pain on this one. If you're just going to buy and hold, you know, you're not looking for your setups. But on the daily, if I was going to buy on this one, I'd ideally just look for, so if that's your key support just in here, I'd want to see a bit of price action. I want to see it's moved down here. I'd love to see a bit of a washout first, and then it push back up. So it could still easily wash it out. And I want to see a decent correction, and then I want to see, you know, this, basically a decent correction up, and then maybe a retest, bit of contraction there. And I want to see evidence of buying coming in. And evidence of buying is those inside higher lows on the daily chart. So for me, probably got a lot more to do if I wanted to buy it off this support, and then potentially looking for that. You could target up towards those highs, but then my first key level would be up, you know, around 72.50 to 74, 75 even, just to see how it reacts, because that lower high could still hold on the longer term and really tip over from there. But I want to see this price action. I know exactly where my risk is. I'm not going to hold my risk miles away. It's going to be nice, tight risk. You know, you can still get a 2-to-1 out of that easily if it moves up, especially if it breaches 72.50 to 70, say 74, breaches that, and then we're looking up towards 85. There's going to be a 2-to-1 trade in that. But for me, I'd be having nice, tight risk because of that longer term structure. Oh, all right. Then does that make sense there, guys? All right, let's minimize that. Anything else you want to take a look at? And if it doesn't make sense, just chuck something into the chat there. Qantas. I was looking at this as a potential short. It's not playing out. It's still got, just popped up off that. This is Qantas, guys, if you're looking at, if you can't see that. I was wanting to see it punch down through that 550 to get you know, confirmation that it's starting to look a bit shaky. But even now, it's still, you know, we got overbought on the weekly, the daily, hovering around overbought on the weekly too. Well, potentially. We're at a key resistance level. We washed it out at 6 on Qantas, so there could be, especially after that nice strong move up. Look at that monthly. This move up into that key level at 6. There's a lot of factors that saying Qantas still could roll over and be a bit scary. Yeah, no, it's a good idea, Chris. It's always worth keeping an eye on. These are the sorts of things where you've identified a key level, a key zone, but it just hasn't set up. It's always good just to have a watch list together. Even whack in a few, like I do. I've got a watch list of alerts just here of things that are either moving or that I like. Probably got to clean it up a bit. And I've got just levels alerted stuff. It ticks off. You can see when they go yellow, they've ticked off levels. So BAP, I wanted to see this high low hold. It didn't. It's gone down instead. And if that held, then potentially it was going to be a buy scenario because of this longer term structure. But it didn't hold up here, so it's looking more negative than anything. It's going to take a lot more time, but it's still, you can see this move up. A lot of this consolidation through here on BAP. It's still longer term, still looking okay. It's just that I might have to wait a bit longer now. So I'll just keep that on my radar. And if we can hold some high lows off here, potentially like this, then it might be worth just keeping an eye on. Yeah, but just alert some prices, so if they tick off, you know what's happening. Let's go to DMP. Oh, it's starting to show some good signs here. Yeah, cool. DMP, it's still, for me, it's got really early signs. I wouldn't be buying it just yet, personally. Longer term, it's still, there's reasons to buy it, but it's still got to play out for me. All right, I'm going to have to go soon anyway. It's about the time for me to love you and leave you. Yeah, so if we can get this lifting, get a higher low, especially off here, if we see this little push up through these highs and build a higher low, that could definitely be a nice gap close or even the start of a nice move up, even to retest this major lower high. Could be good. What are you two doing? What was the other one? KGN you're looking at. I'll quickly go over that before I call it a day. That's on the way up, no doubt about it. Probably a little bit late for me, but that, geez, that would have been nice. Kogan. Did you get onto this one at all, Helen? That was nice. Ideally, geez, I wish I saw this one back here. That would have been great with this push up, this pullback here. See this little, it's a very minor entry, but you can see it paid off dividends. Minor entry, say through 240. The payoff and that risk reward to that was incredible. Great. reversion to the mean, bang, reversion to the mean, bang, up we go again. So it'd be interesting to see how much more legs it's got on the upside, and how much more it can move on the upside. But before we get a decent, it's getting near vertical at the moment. Did we just drop out there, guys, for a minute? Sorry about that. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Anyway, hopefully it's still recording me anyway, and you'll see what we missed out on. But I'm probably gonna have to run. So thank you very much for joining me. We'll be back in on Thursday at 12:30. So any questions that we may, or something you missed out on and you want to take a look at, just let me know. Again, feel free to send through any questions you may have. Send them through to tradesetup.com.au, support@tradesetup.com.au, and we'll get into it. So, all right, guys, we'll have a great day, and have the next couple of days hopefully fruitful as well, and we go well. We continue this move, and we'll just see you on Thursday. Thanks for joining me. Cheers, guys. Bye.